Hola, hola. Okay, here we go. Welcome to all my author friends and those who just like hearing my voice for some reason. Um, uh, I'm Chris, your fabulous host for this uh, series, but without fabulous hair. My hair is, it's out of control. Hang on a second. Mmm. Panamanian coffee, the best, baby. It's the best. All right, let's get this out of the way. Please subscribe to my channel. Look how excited I sound. Please subscribe to my channel. Um, click on that little box in the lower right-hand corner, and you can subscribe and follow me and all that kind of good shit. All right, let's get past that because we got so much to do today. So today, we're going to continue our series on formatting your book for publishing, right? You've already written it, it's done, and what do you do next? And if you go through my previous videos, you learned about doing adding content like your dedication page, copyright page, how to get your copyright, how to assign an ISBN and where to purchase them. Uh, Adding a table of contents was our last video. It was a fun one. Um, Adding page numbers. That was not a fun one. And this one is going to be a blast because today we are going to learn to build your cover. And why do I say build your cover instead of make your cover? Because if you're smart, you didn't create the drawing of your cover. Um, a lot of people want to design their own covers because it's cheaper, really, and they think they have the best idea on how things should uh, blah on how their cover should look. But while that part might be true, most of us are not qualified to create a book cover. Um, and it, listen, I'm a degreed graphic artist, right? Now I don't draw my own book covers. It's not a good idea. Your book cover is probably the most important part of your book. A shitty cover can take down very good writing and cause it not to be sold. A awesome cover may make a bestseller seller out of a crappy book. So, you know, especially for if you've got fans, if you've got people who already buy your books, okay, maybe that's not quite as important with them because they know you, they know your writing, and they're going to buy it because of that. But when it comes to people who have not heard of you and you're an unknown entity, a lot of those people are going to be on Amazon or the bookstores, and the first thing that will grab them is your cover. And um, and so you don't want to skimp on that. It's one of the few expenses I pay out, that and an editor. Everybody should be doing. Okay, anyway, let's talk about it. You can see all these different images. These were all ideas that I tried. Some of them were AI. This one was I created with AI. Um, this was another AI one. So Penny Dreadful is about, come on, open. Penny Dreadful is about a little girl, 13-year-old girl, who has to live in a house when her parents run away. And she discovers it has hundreds of rooms, and she discovers all the rooms on the third floor are actually portals through time. And to get into the rooms, you need a key. And so I was kind of thinking with that key motif, right? And opening doors. Those were, magical doors. Those were the two kind of concepts that I was going for. And so, like I said, I started with AI thinking, oh, well, this AI thing's come around. Let's give that a shot. And it really, some of the ideas were neat, but stuff like this, right, is not, I don't know, to me, it just really didn't hit. Plus, like I saw her with pigtails and I thought that keyboard was kind of interesting. So I found this image and I thought, oh, that's very close because I want something kind of simplistic, but with that magic door. And I thought, oh, that's pretty interesting. And this fantastic artist, Bron Johnson, um, lives here in Panama. He saw that and went, "Oh man, that is a crap cover. I could make something better than that in 2 minutes." And so he made this in 2 minutes. And he was right. It was better. I liked this concept. So I talked with him, and he and I worked together to build my final cover, which wound up being this. And I like this a lot. And it's you can work with your cover artist. That's the important thing, right? So for instance, originally he came up this with her shadow going up against the wall. And that this was just a design, so that wasn't going to be the final shadow. He would have made it look more like her. But that was his kind of idea. And I thought, oh, but the key is magical. What if her shadow becomes the key? And so that's how we came up with this design. And here's the thing: you're not going to put this entire design on. Sometimes you wind up with opportunities of fortune where you just happen something goes wrong, and through that something great comes out of it. And I've always just basically on my books, I have the front cover. Uh, has the photo when you want to try to where you can fill in that whole space, then the spine, usually I'll just have be black and the back will be black, and it makes everything reading. But when I got this, I'm like, oh, I love this whole picture, yet this won't really look good if I shove it all on a front cover, because I'd have to shrink it down, and then I can't expand it. And he was very new. He'd never done a book cover before, so he didn't get the concept of how you build for that front cover. He just made a big long picture, but I love the way the picture looks. So I played around, and then I got the idea, instead of trying to shrink it, and what's the best way to shrink it, what if I made the cover go all the way across so that, and this obviously was with his first concept. But if I have this where you see the magic door, and then the image continues through the spine, and then it will have the back part that will show the key. And I think, oh, that'll be a neat surprise for people. So that just kind of came out of adversity, right? Trying to get it to work and playing around with different things. That's what's so much fun about this. Now, um, so that's that. Um, what? And I'll tell you something else I did was, as I got these different covers I designed, I put them all up on Facebook, and I got a lot of followers on Facebook and Twitter. I've got a few thousand, and and ask people, which cover do you like better? And people would look at them and they'd vote on them and they'd suggest, and all of them loved this 2 minute design that Braun did, which is why I went with him. And you ought to consider using his services. The guy's a master. He's brilliant. Hmm. So now that we've got a cover, illustration, now we need to actually build our book. Okay. And so to do that, you're going to need a couple things. First of all, you can get these really cool templates. Well, let's pull up a browser real quick. Oh, DeSantis is struggling to define woke. Who cares? Jesus, I'm so done with politics. Let's start with going and pulling open our book. And we're going to open remember, we have to design two book covers. We've got to do one for Kindle, and we've got to do one uh, for paperback, right? Because obviously the Kindle only needs that front cover image. That's all you use with Kindle. So we'll use the same drawing, but we'll cut one down. We'll kind of crop it for the Kindle one. So let's pull up our paperback because there's a couple things we need to know. And the first thing is what this will finish loading here. Come on, bitch. 74. Load up, load up, load up. There we go. So the first is go to page setup. What size is our book? Blah, blah, blah. Page setup. No, I'm sorry, not page setup. Where do you go? to figure out the size. Oh, okay. So here's something odd. So in most places, you would go page setup to look at. So like if you were in Word, you would go to their page setup to figure out what size the pages and stuff is. But they don't do that with Google Docs. And in fact, the only way to find a size is you have to download an extension called Page Sizer, right? And so we'll click on Set Page Size. All right. And so it's 5 by 8, basically. 5 by 8. It's a little, I think that's a little bit bigger than we want. Well, let's just write this down. Just get this all down. Control C. We got a text file going here, so it's Control V by Control C and throw that in there. Okay, Control V. I'm not sure if they have that or if they only have 5 by 8, in which case I might have to resize my book a little bit. Problem with resizing my book is it's going to change my page numbers and then we got to go through all that shit again. So if I can avoid it, I really should. I should have um, I should have tried setting this before, or I should have checked my size before I did all this. But that's okay. I think we can make this all work. So the next thing we need to know is how many page numbers we have. And I don't mean, if I go down through my page numbers and I do a count, right? It says I have 264, but don't forget I've got extra content. I've got those blank pages we put in so that stuff would show up on the right side of the page. So what I actually have is 278 pages. It's very important to know. So we'll throw that in our document, 278 pages. Okay. All right. Now that we know that, we can head over to Amazon. Or KDP, I should say. KDP is where I'm going to be publishing. It's where most people are going to publish. You really should publish on KDP. Let's put KDP cover template. Okay. Um, you really should be using KDP. Because that's, especially when it comes to Kindle, that is the largest distribution of electronic books, and they're a pretty huge distribution for paperbacks. Um, Now, really, to me, the only question is, do you exclusively use Amazon or do you use Amazon and other people? And when we get ready to publish, we'll get back to talking about that. I do exclusively with Amazon because I like some of you get some benefits for doing that. But a lot of people want to spread it out across, so it's up to you. But let's go to our cover calculator, okay? And we're going to generate a template, right? So our binding type is going to be paperback, all right? Our interior type is going to be black and white. And yours should too, unless for some reason you have lots of color pictures, in which case things can get expensive and a little weird. Paper type, I'm going to use cream. I just think it looks better. I think white paper is just a little too stark. All right, measurement units is going to be, let me select one. What are you doing here? Why is no, it's not. Let me change that to, well, what happens if oh, wait a minute. Oh, page turn direction. Sorry. Left to right. Uh, that's the way you turn it. It's left to right. Okay. Um, and I don't know if it's different in China. Don't you read right to left in China? I don't know. But anyway, here in the US, it's going to be left to right. In fact, most places it's probably going to be that. Now we can go to measurement units. We want to use inches, and the interior trim size is going to be, what did we say ours was? We said it was, so 5 by 8 and 8 by 2. Okay, well, I'm just going to go with 5 by 8 because that's pretty close. Well, or is it? Let me look at that again. It's 5.8. That's really almost 6 by 8, which is a weird size. So let's go. We're gonna go with 5 by 8. 5 by 2, 5 by 8. Maybe we should do that. No, we're gonna do 5 by 8, and I'm pretty sure everything will fit in there fine. All right, and if not, we'll figure it out later. And then finally, our page size. I gotta know that so I know how big your spine's gonna be. Um, you want to have at least, I know people do very short books, but if you do that, your spine is, it's going to be very hard to put anything on the spine. So if you're doing a very short book and you have kind of a very minute spine, don't put anything on it because it's just going to look messy. All right, let's calculate our dimensions. There we go. We know it's in the right direction because you should always see your back cover here. We know it's the back cover because it shows where a barcode would go, and it shows this on the front. Okay, so that looks good. And it gives us all our description here. Here's where all this is going to be. Okay, so let's, why does it show that as 8 by 10? I don't know, that's weird. Oh, is that because it's the, what the interior trim size is? But it is 5 by 8, so, huh, that's actually going to make it larger than I thought. That's all right. We'll deal with that later when we actually start publishing if we have problems. So we always adjust, right? So let's download this. I'm terrible with math, and we're going to save this as my. That's fine. We just go to paperback, go to penny dreadful, go to cover, and we're going to create a new folder called KDP template. Save that there. All right. Once that's saved, you want to go back to your folder, go to your template, and just unzip that. Okay. Now, you need a art program. You need a graphics program to be able to manipulate your cover and build it. Um, I use Adobe Photoshop. Um, if you have Adobe Photoshop, really that's the one to go with. It doesn't have to even be a new version. I have a very old version from when I was in college. That's the only reason why I bought one because they were expensive. And now I don't even think you can buy a standalone version. I think they only work by subscription. Um, so you might be able to even find a an older version on the cheap or something, but that's what I go with. I think it's just the best program if you can afford it or if you have access to it. Now, if not, you can use a program called GIMP. That is open source. That won't cost you a thing. I understand it does a lot of what Photoshop will do. There's certainly plenty of program to build your cover in, but as I understand it, there's a bit of a learning curve. And I'm not going to teach you that because I have Photoshop. So, but that is an alternate. So now I need to load one of these into my graphic program. We're going to use the PNG. PDF is not really something you want to be playing around with. It's just not the right format in my mind. PNG is a standard, very high quality graphic or graphic file. So let's open that with Adobe Photoshop. And there's our template. And it gives you some idea, right? The black line is your trim, right? Your blue dash, that's your spine. Now, this red area, that is your out of bleed. And what that means is your bleed size is sometimes, they can't guarantee where your book's going to be cut, right? And they assume there's going to be uh, part of, part of, they call it bleed because your cover may bleed into that area a little bit. So all of this red, if I had text up here, right, there's a good chance that it might get cut out when they create the cover, when Amazon cuts one of your books. And so all your text, all your pertinent information has to be within these red lines. And if it's not, Amazon will reject the cover when we upload it. All right. Okay. So now that we've done that, we want to pull in our image next. All right. Da, 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 da. In fact, actually, let's just go ahead and save. All right. And we're going to do this. No, not there. Not there. We'll do it under cover. Yeah. And we're going to call this, we want to save this as a Photoshop file. And we'll call this PB. No, we'll call this full cover. Well, PD full cover full. Okay, you can call it whatever you want. I have very specific naming conventions I use. All right, so boom. Yes, that's okay. All right, now let's get our image in here. So we go back here, go here, go to cover, and then go to our images. All right, and well, that's weird. Why is it showing that like that? I don't know. Anyway, images. And we want to open this one in Photoshop. Boom. Okay, there we go. But we need it to go over here. Now, important thing to understand before we move this file, um, anything you want to do to the actual image, like if I wanted to crop something out of the image here, if I wanted to rotate the image, you got to do that here, right? When you're only on at the image level with just a single image, because if I move that folder here and then anything I do to the image is actually going to do it to the entire book, right? If I wanted to uh, flip this. I wouldn't want to do it over here because, get in there, because if I flipped it here, it would flip all of this stuff, right? We don't want to do that. Anyway, but we want to use the cover as is. So with Photoshop, you just tell it to move to a new window, pick the right tool, and you just drop it right there. All right. Now let's get out of there. So let's move this up. Um, Now, next thing is we need to see how this is going to, obviously we've got to stretch it, right? It's too small here. And we need to be able to see as we're doing this, um, we need, because if I just go like that, right, then I can't tell exactly where things are lining up underneath because I can't see it. I'm covering it. Um, so what we do is we go to layer one. I like to rename stuff too, so we're gonna, oh, cancel that. And let's just rename our layer 0 is template, all right? And our layer 1 is image. Uh, yeah, that's good to say. Okay, and there. Now, we want to make this a little more translucent so we can actually see what we're doing. So, there we go. That's good. We'll put that back later. See these little squares? When you click them, it allows you to transform it, okay? And you see this little paper clip here? If you do that, it keeps everything aligned, right? If I don't use that, and then I stretch it, it doesn't, it's, see how stuff is stretching and it's distorting? We don't want that. So we click on that, and now you see how it maintains that, right? And we've got to get this enough where it will cover the whole book. Okay. And we figure out exactly where we want this. I think for now we can do that. You want to make sure it covers the whole thing. I think it's a little big. Let's put that there. And bit smaller. Perfect. I make sure it goes just slightly outside of my lines. I make sure there's no important information in my bleed area. And we're good. All right, now, question is to where do we want to put this? And I think I want it to be about like that. And you gotta play around a little bit. I want it a little bit smaller. All right, I think that's good. Now I know it looks kind of distorted, right? But when I click that, it'll adjust. Boom, there it goes. Now, let's look at our thing. Okay, that's how the cover's gonna look. Here's your front, then your spine, then the key. That back page is going to be hard to text, but we'll deal with it. All right. What's next? Now we need to make this translucent again because we're going to put some text on here, right? All right. So let's see if I've got my. We're going to switch over to text, right? And monotype cursiva. I don't know if that's what I want. So let's just anywhere, just write in Penny Dreadful. That is not what I want. I do not want, but that's okay. We can do that anyway, just to have an idea of. So, Penny Dreadful. Okay. I don't like that. So we want to change that first. And I know the one I like for this, and I just don't remember what the hell it's called. No, no, no. We also want to make it bigger. So let's start with that. Go 24. Um, Gosh, that's not it. Not gonna remember what this is. Is it this? I don't think so. It's close. I think to what I want. Nope. And you just keep playing around. And if you don't find one you like, you can always, like, this is one I downloaded when I was doing Gilligan's Island. I needed a Gilligan's Island font, so I just downloaded and added that one, which we may need to do. But let's see what else we got here. What about, no, we don't want Microsoft. Huh, nope. I want something kind of childlike, right? Cartoony. Oh, certainly not that. Nope, not that. Huh. I don't know, maybe? I think maybe we'll go with that for now. So let's start there. Go Penny Dreadful and click boom. Okay, just for a start. I don't think that's right. It's not. We can also go and hit our friend up on the web and look for like, I don't know, funny or fantasy fonts. Let's try a fantasy font. Bree. And we'll go, let's find some. See if we find something we kind of like. I don't like that. No, 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 no. That one's interesting. No. that? Dungeon Quest. That's kind of interesting too. Don't pick something too iconic, right? This obviously is very Star Wars iconic. You don't want anything quite like that. Bismarck, what else I got? Oh, that's interesting. Okay, let's. Oh, I like that. Wonder Night, Penny Dreadful. Do I want that? Do I want Dreamwood? Or do I want. What's the other one? Quite Magical. I don't think Quite Magical is right. All right, so we're just going to try this one for now, and maybe we'll keep it, maybe we won't. So notice for personal use, it's free. We're going to talk about licensing here in a second. Let's download that. All right, we're going to save that as blah, 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 cover, font. All right, so let's go back here now. Yeah, we can minimize that. Which doctor we got? Oh, the 13th Doctor. I'm watching her seasons right now. She was pretty good. Unfortunately, she had Chris Chibnall, who sucked. Okay, so let's go back to, yeah, it's fine. We'll go back one, go to font. Now, how do you install your font? Well, first of all, you have to unzip it. All right, and then here's your font that you would normally use, TTF, but you got to look at the info.text first. That tells you what your licensing is. License, freeware, non-commercial. So legally, I can't use this without paying them. Let's see if we go there. Come on. And it should tell you what this font is free for personal use only. Any donation. Now, if I wanted to use it for my book cover, I would have to come here and it would tell me how much it is. And it would be 14 bucks, right? That's not bad. I can put it in a printout. I can put it in my book cover. So 14 bucks. Who knows? I might use it. We'll see. But for right now, we are going to use it to design our cover. And again, you can always change it. So, but that's real important with fonts. They're not just all free. There's a license there, and you got to be cool. So, but let's say we're going to try it and see if we want to purchase it. First thing, you can go with Windows, you can right click on the TTF file. It's a true type font and install. It'll install it. And now I don't think I have to reopen my program. Sometimes you might have to reopen your program for it to go in, but I don't think I do. So we're going to highlight that again. And we're going to go to, what's it called? Wonder Font? Wonder Night. There it is. Penny Dreadful. Well, that's actually kind of interesting. All right, well, for now, we're going to go with it, and we'll probably wind up changing it after my wife tells me what she thinks is going to make it bigger. Penny Dreadful. It's actually kind of a fun font. All right, let's see how that looks. Boom. Boy, it's a little thin, but that might be okay. However, the black, see, I think it stands out more if we can, well, for now, that's fine. And you notice we're still translucent because we want to make sure we're inside the bleed lines. All right, now we're going to go back. We're going to make this full again so we can see how it will actually look. Penny Dreadful. Now, there's a couple things we can do here. Um, it's kind of thin. Maybe I want to line it up a little bit. Maybe I want to add a stroke, which just surrounds your lettering. Right now, because it's using a black stroke, it just makes it thicker. But maybe I want to try a different color, right? Let's try red. Okay, it's small, but it does still kind of stand out. Um, yeah, I don't think this one's going to work, but for now we're going to use it. All right, and we go okay. Do we want to do that? Oh, the other things we can do, we could bevel it. Just, it's hard to tell when it's so thin. We do that, we'd go contour, and it makes it seem a little bit like it's standing out, but this is such a thin font, I don't think that works. We could also put a drop shadow. None of this is really showing up because of how thin that is. So maybe we should pick a different font. Let's cancel that. Let's change this font just so you can really see what I'm doing. And where was that one? We looked at that one that seemed like it kind of worked. Uh, Not terminal. Oh, there we go. Oh, actually, I think that was the one I kind of wanted. All right, so now we're going to blah, 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 blah. Got to make it smaller. There we go. Penny Dreadful. Now let's see if is this all caps? Yeah, it is. Some fonts only have caps. They don't have lowercase, but that's okay. We'll use this for now. This again is not what I'm going to use, but I want it for our example. All right, and so again, we'll open this up, and now you should be able to see a little bit better. If we had a stroke, right, and we're going to stroke it at, let's try blue, maybe, and let's make it a little bit bigger. Let's make our stroke, let's try 5. And it makes it stand out a little bit more, and we go, okay. Uh, Now, you can see more if we do a bevel. See the way it kind of changes it? And then if we do contour, you got to look close, but it kind of it stands out. It looks like it's actually a little bit raised. Um, we could also throw a color overlay if we wanted to change our color that way. Oh, actually, I kind of like that. What if we change that to red and change our stroke to back to black? And now you can see where the bevel is really standing out. That's flat, that's raised. I like that. Now we could also throw in a glow. Glows aren't going to look well here because my background's yellow. So we're not going to do a glow. What about a shadow? No, the inner shadow. I like the drop shadows. And if I wanted to make that shadow bigger, I could just, ooh, I kind of like that actually. We're going to leave it like that. So, okay. I said, okay. All right. It's kind of neat looking, I think. Is it still within our thing? Let's bring this back down some. Yep, looks good. And it's nicely even. All right, so let's throw my name on here now. Now you can always make the choice to use a different font for your name. I'm not going to. I'm just going to throw in here uh, Christopher Minori, but I want this to be much smaller. So let's try 14. No, let's try 24. Uh, I think I like 18 right now. So we'll do that. Now, in Photoshop, I believe the easy way to pull up all of these is to just grab the effects and drop it on there. Yeah, there it goes. Oh, mhm. I kind of goofed. I moved them completely. I didn't mean to do that. Go back there. Um, I know there's a way to copy those effects. Uh, uh, I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. But I thought you could copy them, but apparently not. I mean, I'm sure you can. I just don't know how. We'll go bevel, content, uh, color overlay, stroke, And I want to say that was, oh no, then we did drop shadow and we raised it by something. There, that's good. We'll do that for now. Okay, let's get our little moving tool. Figure out where do we want this? Do we want it at the bottom? Do we want it up here? Up here? I don't know. For now, let's put it there. All right. And I'm absolutely going to play around with these because I'm not 100% loving it, but I want you to be able to see how we do it. Okay. So that's good. Now let's figure out the spine. So, well, first of all, if I'm happy with this, what I can do is, let's make always save. So file, save as, and I want to make it cover 2 because I've added a lot. So I don't overwrite my other one. Never overwrite your stuff. Okay, now we're going to trim that. We're going to say, oh, I like this the way it is. I don't, but let's say we do. And I'm going to go right here, click, and then it will trim that. And notice it actually trimmed, if I hide this, it trimmed that whole background. That's what I was saying before. Don't necessarily do any image manipulation you want to before you bring it into your project. Okay, but that's okay for what we're doing. And then I would come back here and go to here, make that 100%, go okay, and then there's my Kindle cover, right? So I would just make a save of that, file, save as, and I would actually, I'm not gonna, well, I would go and save that as Kindle, and then I would do another save as a JPEG, but we're not going to do that because, here, we'll just do that quick JPEG so you can see it. Save. Okay. And so now if I look, uh, right, and now I look at my cover, and that would be my Kindle cover, right? But it's not going to be because we're not using that. But if so, so let's go back to Control Z so we can revert. Oop, Control Alt Z. There we go. And boom. Okay, now we're back where we were. So next, we got to make the spine. Okay, so this one's much easier. We're going to just Penny Dreadful. We're going to make um, duplicate that layer. And I would call this Penny Dreadful spine. Okay, and now if I go here, you can see I've got a copy of that. And it needs to be able to fit there, so I think I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Oop. So we'll go from 36 to 30. Yeah, that'll be good. And it's good there. Go back to our manipulation tool, and now see if you get close to that corner, you see how that changes from a straight line to kind of a turny line. And we go here, we want to go about 90%. That's not correct. Oh, a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so that looks fine. Or should we go this way? I think we'll go this way, actually. Oh, one more. There we go. That's pretty close, right? And we'll go okay. Next, do the same thing with my name. Once again, let's change the font size down by 1. Go from 18 to 14. Okay. Go back to our manipulation tool and flip it again. Remember your bleed. There we go. I think I'm happy with, no, I need to, that's pretty good. All right. Now let's move this up. Oh, wrong one. Where's my spine? Move that one just a little bit, maybe go right there. Go back to my name. Move it right about there. All right, that'll work. We're happy with that. All right, now gotta do the back side. Um, so on the back, this is where a barcode is going to be set. Amazon will add one if you don't add one. So don't put any text or anything in here, right? You don't want to do that. All right, so uh, first thing is you want to, and I think I got something here. Not there. One of these I thought was, no, 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 no. Oh yeah, here we go. So I created this little description. Okay. This may not be my final description, but that's okay. So then we're going to go back to font, or text rather, and we'll do that. And just drop that down there, right? And we're going to, that's not a good font. So let's go with Mars, too much of my shit. So let's make it just something simple to start with. Let's go with Georgia. I like Georgia. Come here. Very easy on the eyes. Oh, why don't you have it there? All right, that's fine. Georgia. Where are you, bitch? Georgia. Change there. And maybe change the font size from 14. Let's try going to 12. Okay. Okay. Now, we need to be able to see how this is going to look. So, we'll go back down to our image and make that 100% again. So see, this is actually kind hard to see, especially where it goes over the key. Key's black, text is black. We're going to fix that. We also want to move that down some. By the way, here's a little trick. If you hold the shift key, you can pull something. Oop. That's what happens when you use layers. Make sure you're highlighted on the right thing. Where is it? There it is. Okay. Now, if you hold the shift key as I pull down, it'll just come down straight. Okay. I want that down about here, I think. Okay. Now we got to fix that font, the way that's showing up. So let's start by maybe we add a stroke around it that is white. Let's try that. No, 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 no. Let's try yellow. Yellow doesn't look good either. Hmm. Maybe we need to change the font color itself. What if we change, get back to text, click somewhere there, and then do that. And let's, first of all, we want this, I think, to be left justified. And then secondly, let's try changing that color to a blue maybe? All right, that's a little better, but it's still kind of hard to read. So what if we see yellow is, oh, actually yellow looks pretty good. Kind of like yellow. About red. Red's no good. Yellow looks good. Blue, maybe if we give it another stroke. So let's say we want, what about purplish? No, 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 no. What about green? Uh, darker green. Nope, nope. It's got to be up there. All right, I'm not crazy about green. Yellow is not bad. So we're going to start with blue because I just like the idea of the blue. Everything's so yellow already. And then we're going to open this back up again. And now we're going to add that stroke again. Black stroke. Well, looks, oh, it's still too hard to read. Oh, what if we go stroke and change that down to 1 pixel? So it just makes it stand out. Not so much, but I think if I go cancel, go back here, I think we're going to go with the yellow text. Yep, okay. Now we're going to do our stroke, and we're going to make that stroke a 1. Ooh, now see what happened over here. It got too light. Let's try a 2. A little better. Maybe we gotta stick with 3. I don't think this yellow is gonna work. But what else? Maybe if we do a drop shadow. Oh, that helps it stand out a little bit. Um, no, no. Oh, this cover makes it really hard to do text on the back, but we got to figure it out. So it's going to take a lot of playing around with. Cover overlay. Red's no good. Maybe I need to make it a little bigger. Maybe that's it. I'll do that. Let's stay with the yellow for now. Yellow's not going to work, I can tell you. Um, but let's try. Let's just go to color overlay. Let's change that overlay. Just it's faster than jumping in and out to. Like, oh, we don't want red definitely. This almost works. All right, well, for now, we're going to say this is it. It's not it. It's going to take a lot of playing. What does that do? Oh, that actually made it a little bit better. Okay. All right, we'll go with that. And I almost feel like I want a different stroke color. What if I go with the, go with that white? Nope. What if I go with the yellow? An eggshell, maybe? No, 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 no. Cancel. We're going to leave it black. Okay. Well, for right now, we're going to leave it like that. This is not how it's going to be because it just doesn't look right. But this isn't about making my cover look perfect for you. It's about how to do it. And last thing I want to do is I want to add a a little tagline across the top, right? So let's again hide our blue. By the way, here's something in the text you got to look for. Notice how I get a hyphen here. You really don't want hyphens and stuff in this back text. So let's go back to text. Let's fix that. Okay. Text is changed. So now we can fix it by making that bigger, which we don't want to do. Um, we can try making it longer, won't do anything. Really, the easiest thing is to hit enter there. All right, there it goes. See, this is really not a good text. This is going to take, given this cover, it's going to take a lot to figure out how to do it, but that's okay. Like I said, for right now, just for shits and giggles, this is okay. So we'll go okay. All right, now I want to add a tagline. So one more text right here. Actually, before we do that, cancel, we need to make that translucent again. Okay, now we can add a text here. Um, and my tagline is Stumbling through history, one door at a time. There we go. Now we're going to change that font to whatever. We're going to go with, I guess yellow's fine for what we're doing. We do want it bigger though. Let's try 14. Let's try 18. Well, that almost works, except then it goes on to the new line, and I don't know that I want that. But again, for this, what we could do is we could put it here, and then boom, and boom. And that kind of makes it look stumbling through history. I would want to put that on one straight line, but for now we're going to, again, go with that, okay? So now let's move it to where we want it to go. Looks pretty even to me. Okay, so now we can, one last thing that you would add here is your barcode. If you had a barcode, you'd simply get a screenshot of your barcode, get it in JPEG, get it in something, trim it, and then drop it. It's got to cover this yellow space completely, okay? This whole space. We're not going to do it. We're just going to leave space for it, and we'll accept whatever Amazon puts there. So we go back here, and we'll go back to 100% translucent. Okay, then we would go ahead and save this thing as a JPEG. We'd save it as our PDF file. Let's do that. Save as book cover full 3. So I don't have to restart this whole thing all over. I can mess around with it. I've got it mostly good. And then we'd save it as a JPEG. Save. Okay. Now if we come back to here, cover, and so there's our image. This is what you would be submitting to Amazon, to KDP when you upload your book, and it will wrap it around and everything. When you're getting ready to publish a book, you would send this as your full paperback cover. Um, That's it. Now, listen, this is a terrible cover. I've got to, I don't know if this is the font I'm going with. I've got to figure out what colors, figure out how to do things, especially this back cover. That's a big, big problem where I want to move things and stuff. And then I got to figure out how to get this text to look good, because right now it does not look great. Um, I might just need to go with that yellow because it sure seems to work here. The problem with the yellow, I see how this is brighter yellow. This yellow looks great here because it's kind of more darker. That was my wife, if you heard her. And so that's why I'm having a problem here. But I'm going to figure this all out on my own. But this is essentially it. This is how you create your book cover. And with that, I'm going to, until our next video, say bye. Okay, guys. So I know I said I said bye already on this video. However, it's now a day later and I've reworked my cover and it's done. So I want to give you an idea where I went from what we're looking at to where we wound up. Um, Let me go find this cover. Is it under cover? Yeah, yes. So here's the full cover. All right. I wound up going with that font. Now I went through, I didn't just settle on this font and go, okay, yeah, I do like it. I went through, gosh, 15 different fonts maybe until I found the right one. 15 different fonts. I had already found the right one because ultimately it came down to this and one other font, and this is what I settled on. And I got opinions too. I got opinions from the boss, my wife. Some of the other stuff I did, I changed the font to white. It just looked best in white, and to make it stand out a little bit more, I'm talking on the back cover now. To make it stand out a little bit more, I raised the stroke around. That's the outline. I raised the outline around the words, I think from 3 to 8. Um, I also changed completely what I had written down, and I think this is a lot better. It's more exciting. It's shorter. It gives you some of the key parts, and I think uh, I think it's more exciting. And then finally, I still like that stumbling through history one door at a time, so I moved it from the back cover over here to the front, down a little bit lower, just because I think it looks really good there. It's right under the door. So anyway, oh, and just so you know, then where's my Kindle cover? Penny Dreadful, Kindle, and cover, and there we go. And so basically, all I did was we sliced the spine and the back cover off, which sucks because then you don't get the key and everything. But I think this still gives you a good idea that something magical is happening with this door. It's unfortunately on Kindle, all you get to show is your front cover. So most of the time that works out fine because that's where my entire illustration is. This time with me veering across the spine and the back cover, it doesn't really get to do that. Um, oh, one other thing I want to say, going back to our paperback and going back to the cover, and oops, no, I didn't move it yet. Sorry, it's under cover. And final. There we go. One last thing. This text that's going on your back of your book should be the same description you use everywhere whenever you put it on. Put it on your description on Amazon, on any place where you got to put a description of your book. When you're doing ads, when you're just posting something, this is where you put it. Okay. All right, that's it. And this time we really are saying bye. So, uh, bye.